how do you deal? How do you deal with, like, I don't know if I want to call it the ridiculousness, but of an 0-0 professional boxer versus a 49-0 boxer, just kind of keeping it together and analyzing a fight that, if it didn't involve these two big names, I mean, a lot of us would be laughing off this matchup.
You know, this is an intriguing, probably one of the most intriguing situations I've ever been in 35 years of broadcasting, because this match is way different than anything, obviously. And part of the intrigue of it to me is normally in boxing or MMA, when promoters say, oh, here we have a match, we're pretty sure the public's going to be interested in this, let's put it out there and promote it. This fight kind of started the reverse. This fight kind of started because people seem to want to see it.
Right.
The fighters themselves stoked the flames, and people stoked the flames, and whatever people think of this match and the veracity of it, at the end of the day, it's happening because people seem to want to see it. And so it creates a real interesting situation, especially an interesting situation for somebody like me who is going to call the fight. The actual calling of the fight is not an issue, because once we're there and once we're ringside and once it's simply a matter of chronicling the event, it's fine. It's getting there that, you know, is the difficult part, because clearly there are a lot of people that find this to be, you know, have too much of a sideshow aspect to it. And you're absolutely right. It wouldn't be happening if not for the personalities and personas of these two men.
Al, you've covered so many big fights in your career, and when it comes to this one, you know, a lot of people bill it as MMA versus boxing. But at the end of the day, they're both going to be wearing boxing gloves, shoes, shorts. Will it have a different feeling for you that night than any other fight?
I don't think so, because of what you said. You know, both in boxing shorts, both fighting with boxing rules, and it is a boxing match. Obviously, in discussing it, I'll have to be discussing what Conor McGregor is capable of doing vis-a-vis what he's done as an MMA practitioner. I've already had lots of conversations with many MMA experts on him, and of course watched video, and will have gotten by then anyway some intel on his sparring from Paulie, although that's a whole other story, right?
It is.
It will be different because of the nature of it. But the actual doing of the fight, I don't think will feel like doing anything other than a boxing match, because that is what they're doing. You know, it's interesting. The one thing about Conor McGregor is clearly he's capable, he's created big events and been involved in big events. And his fights in the MMA world, in the UFC world, have been, you know, monstrous events. So he's certainly able to deal with the pressure and the all the hoopla that comes with these events. So I don't know that I could give him any advice in that area or any that would be necessary. The only advice in the ring, by then, of course, he'll have already done all his work and all his tactical work. At the end of the day, this fight boils down to a couple of things. He's physically bigger and stronger. If he can find some way within the limits of the rules, and maybe just barely within the limits of the rules, to be that kind of a fighter, which, as Kevin will point out, and he certainly has covered Conor McGregor more than I have, as a striker, that's not his first inclination, to get inside and rip off combinations and do all those things. But the people that have been successful against Mayweather have been Marcos Maidana, who I thought in the first fight that was a draw, and Jose Luis Castillo, who in his first fight against Mayweather, I actually thought he won the
and
fight.
Emmanuel Augustus.
Yeah. Emmanuel Augustus, yes.
Yeah, Floyd says that's his toughest fight.
Yeah, he says that's his toughest, and that would be also an example of it. Can Conor McGregor do that? If he can find a way to use his physicality, it would be helpful.